Do you like music? Do you like playlists? Do you like awesome music in a playlist chosen by the Book Interrupted members, inspired by the books? Yeah, I thought so. Go to www.bookinterrupted.com/blog to find our cycle song picks. You're welcome.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
Oh, money doesn't exist anymore? Oh, well. Give me a goat.
This is Betty, and I've been listening.
I really hope this is a Mandela effect.
I really hope he's in it.
I really hope that he hears it. It's so much more funny.
Why is this the most uncomfortable experience of my life?
Yeah.
When you're not even really under attack. When actually, ironically, the reverse is true.
Sorry about that. That was really colonial.
I thought you were going to say that was really close.
My experience is
Right in
the experience.
Mind, body, and soul. The inflammation is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle is from October 24th to December 4th. It's Kim's book pick, and we're reading They Called Me Number One by Bev Sellars. In this frank and poignant memoir of her years at the St. Joseph Mission, Sellars breaks her silence about the residential school's lasting effects on her and her family. From substance abuse to suicide attempts, and eloquently articulates her own path to healing. Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion. Welcome to the fan and follow-up episode. This is the episode where we figure out.
What the hell we're doing.
No.
What are we doing? Oh, okay.
I think this is the intro.
Yeah, this is a good intro.
We figure out what
We're
the fans
all off
think.
today.
Or we try to.
One of those days.
Yeah, we figure out the fan things. The one fan, what the one fan thinks.
The one fan.
We figure out what Kim's mom thought about it. Whatever.
Anyway, this is the fan and follow-up episode. So we do the follow-up to the book cycle and anything that the fan said during the book cycle, but doesn't necessarily have to be about the book. There,
Wonderful.
We did it.
Exactly right.
If you liked it and you let us know about it, you're going to be
Yeah.
on the episode probably. If we get to it, because we're very distracted today.
If we
ever get to it.
If we even get to this episode.
We're trying.
Now I'm feeling very silly. Okay.
It's a good place to be for the episode, I think.
All right, so I'm going to start with some follow-up because Lindsay isn't here today and she let me know that she has finished the book.
Oh.
Yeah. And you would have heard her final book report that she finished the book, which was last week.
Episode.
Yeah. Do we want to go to Kim's mom? Because we could go right straight there.
I propose yes.
Kim's mom sent a voicemail. So I'll play it for everyone.
Aw,
He is our
I
biggest
love
fan.
that.
We might as well
She
start
shared
with
her
her.
10 cents. Yeah.
10 Cents is an inside joke reference to season 1 when we learned that Sue Farbs comes up with her own expressions.
Well, and her value of her opinion is 8 cents more than the
That's
average
more than
person.
the average human.
That's great.
If you want really good advice, ask Sue for her 10 cents worth.
Mine might be negative. I might have to pay people for my advice. Take it.
Yeah. Come on, please.
No, don't, because I don't know what to say.
Oh, but that's okay. We just want to hear what you think. You've got access to your brain, don't you?
Shut up.
How do you like the podcast? What do you think about it?
Are you doing it now?
I
Don't do it.
just go. Let's hear it.
I thoroughly enjoy the podcast. I think considering you're all distances apart and you connect, I find it really interesting. I love to hear your perspective on things, And I think you're so funny, all of you. And I just really enjoy listening to it.
Thank you.
Aww.
Yeah, so she sent us a voicemail.
Yeah.
So she sent
that's
one.
cute.
Are you doing it right now? Yes.
And then she got mad at you. I love it.
That's how every conversation goes. Literally everyone.
Literally everyone.
Oh, I love your mom.
We had another one. I'm going to make you listen to another one. So that was someone sending, so Kim's mom sent in a voice memo. So they recorded it on their phone, and then she sent it to connect@bookinterrupted.com.
Cool.
Or you could do a voicemail, and we have a voicemail as well from someone.
You send that by calling 416-900-8603.
Oh my gosh, that's the fastest we've ever come up with the number. Amazing. It only took us 2 years.
I was so
Have
ready.
the number ready.
I feel very prepared today. But only in that, nothing
Yeah.
else. Everything else was
Only in
disastrous.
that respect. Everything else,
Check. I did one being prepared today. I'm done for the day.
Okay, so here's the one that was a voicemail.
Hello, this is Betty, and I've been listening to your podcast, and I think that you are all very charming and funny and wonderful. And I also called to ask if your fridge is running, because if it is, you better go catch it.
who did that?
Remember we had the conversation about crank calls? Is it prank or crank? No, I don't know.
It's both.
Oh, okay.
Crank.
I feel better.
I think it's crank calls.
But it's
which
a
is
prank.
the act of doing
Correct.
a prank.
It's both.
Yeah.
Let's just
prank
leave it
calls.
there.
Oh, it's like a prank, but you're calling, so it's a crank.
Let's discuss it to death.
Isn't crank also refer to some kind of street drug?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a
Is
book
it?
called Crank. There's a book called
Oh.
Crank that's about maybe some version of meth.
Well, in any case, we had a conversation about crank or crank calls.
In any case.
You know
And so
that's going
a
to be
follow-up. That's so we're following up to that follow-up of that episode. I don't remember what
Okay.
episode it is, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Does that number have call display? And can
Well,
it
we
sure
prank
does.
call her?
Can we call Betty
hear it.
back?
I know who
Can we
Betty
crank,
is.
Can we crank her?
I have a feeling I know who Betty is, but anyway, go on. Who is it?
I do because it has call display.
Oh my God, is it your mom?
No. It's my mom. I wish it was
Is
my
she putting
mom.
on a voice? Is it your mom?
It would never, Shirley would never do it. She would feel too bad.
She wouldn't be able to figure it out and she'd call us.
For sure.
I want to do that prank thing.
Who is it?
And then it would turn into a big thing, and then she'd have to
It was
save
Schweitz.
herself.
Lindsay Schweitz.
Yeah, it
Lindsay?
sounded like Lindsay Schweitz.
Oh.
I've called
Okay.
display. So I was like, Lindsay sends a voicemail.
To the Book
That's
Interrupted
fun.
line.
That's great.
Here.
Yeah. What
People
I
don't call
imagine is
anymore.
that there's this red phone that sits in Sarah's office that never rings. And like that's the Book Interrupted line. It's like someone's calling. Someone's leaving a voicemail.
Look at the phone I have in my office. Da, 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 da.
Oh,
There it
that
is.
exactly,
She's
except for red.
waiting.
Old
Totally.
phone. Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
love that
that's
phone.
that's the Book Interrupted.
Did you know,
hotline.
bookies, that you are calling back in time
Amazing.
when you call our line?
You are.
Is that
So
our
fun.
phone from childhood?
No.
Weren't they the worst when you get to like the 5th number, but you messed up and you'd have to start all over again? And you're like, ah.
Especially
And
when
you're
it's
like,
like a
"Ah."
bunch of nines.
Yeah, you never want to call anybody that has like nines in their number.
No.
Or wasn't, yeah, or zero. Zero was at the end.
don't
too.
Yeah,
remember
'cause
ever
you
using
have
it.
all
Zero.
the way.
No, it's not ours from childhood. Mamadou got it for me when we watched this documentary a long time ago about, it was like a doomsday documentary.
Scenario?
And if there was no electricity, rotary phones are the only phones you can use without electricity. So I made him get us one.
Oh my God,
That's
I
great.
love it. We
I
have
love it.
a stockpile because Bob doesn't like to depart with things. We're
Oh
we are
my
literally going to be the
gosh.
base of operations.
Oh.
You'd be like $2,000 for this phone. Thank you. Oh, money doesn't exist anymore? Oh, well, give me a
Oh, well.
goat.
Yeah.
Goat. Goat.
Don't give me your duck.
No
For
duck.
survival.
Not a duck. Too risky.
Listeners don't know the reference to the ducks. I had ducks on my farm,
And it was quite
They were
the
prolific.
dramatic tale.
traumatic. Yeah.
Traumatic
And
and
they-
dramatic.
Yeah.
Both.
Not many ducks survived. And not because they're being eaten. Not because they're
Until later
delicious.
when they
Just
were
because
being
they-
eaten, because there were
Well.
too many ducks.
Some just died because they fell over as babies.
For one of Leah's drawings for the blog post, could she draw the imagined contraption that would have to keep all ducklings in their upright position?
Yeah.
I think it's called a pond. Like they can swim like almost immediately, right?
Oh,
If they can swim, they can't walk
Oh,
very
okay.
well, but swimming.
We do have a pond.
Yeah.
They're
So
born
if they ducks are just smart enough to be like, well,
get
maybe
that
I can
water.
live over there.
It would have been helpful.
Who
Brilliant.
knows? I was looking it up because ducks can swim. What is it? A day after they're born, or like almost immediately? Yeah, survival, man.
Oh, yeah.
Why were you looking it up?
My daughter loves ducks. It was her first word.
It was
Are you
first
sure it was
word.
duck?
This is what happened. She
really
goes, duck. I go, I think she just said duck. And she went, duck. Again, I was
You're
like,
right.
But the
You're
letter
right, she did say
the
that.
D is so challenging for them. That's such a rarity.
She was
I
very
don't know.
clear.
I thought the da 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 is always like way
No,
sooner than
usually
mama
it's-
mama.
Ma and pa, like those sorts of noises.
Oh, well, I've got a genius too then. Although my
You do.
son's first word was, can't remember what the word was, but it's Indonesian for poop. And Josh was like, did you hear that? He just said this. And I was like, oh, and he's like, that's Indonesian for poop. And I'm like, okay.
Is his diaper dirty?
Can't remember what the word is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
One of Mattie's first words was, it wasn't her first one, but one of her first words when she was little was meat.
Oh, yeah.
She
wanted
loves
to
me.
eat meat.
I'm growing.
Like in the middle of the
Feed me.
night. Yeah, she in the middle of the night, she would want actual meat. I'd be like, it's what? No, you can have breast milk.
You can have breast milk. I ate some meat
What?
earlier, okay?
It's 1 a.m. You can have some breast milk. We're not eating meat right now.
All right. I'm not making you a steak.
I'm growing, damn it. Oh no, that's another thing. So I think I say damn it too much because my kids, they're playing and they go, damn it. I go, ah. I was like, we're gonna be that family where my kids are yelling
Oh my
damn
gosh,
it all
that's
over the place.
nothing. Oh
No,
my
yeah,
gosh,
totally.
Max,
It's a slippery slope, Leah.
oh my God, Max
That's all I'm saying.
used correctly. She like dropped a bunch of stuff. This was years ago. She goes, Jesus fuck. And I was like, oh,
Whoops.
that's
You use that in the correct
Yep,
way.
that is frustrating when you drop all your things.
We're trying to get them to replace them with like old fashioned ones, which is hilarious because we want them to be silly. We're like, these are silly ones. Gee golly, hot
Yeah.
diggity dog, or whatever.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
When my kids went, she was like, paused and she went, oh my. And she was like, I was trying not to say damn it. I was like, good one. I was like, oh no.
Okay,
I just
so-
like
Mine is really bad. So
What?
the kids here, like they say it's insulting. So like doing the middle finger, that's an insult. They'd be like, oh, this person insulted this person. And Dabby did, just because he was trying to think of other things could be insulting, like hand gestures, this and whatever. They're going through different ones. And Dabby did this, which
Oh.
I know. And I was like, I immediately was like, no, that's a really bad one. We don't do that one because I don't want to know when they're doing it. And then because now he thinks it's the worst one, sometimes he does it.
just to get a rise out of you.
I'm like, I don't want. Can someone else describe it? Because it's too much for me.
Oh, be on the
Tell me I
YouTube
want-
channel, I
I'm
guess.
looking at
You're on
you.
your own.
Yeah,
But
let's
it's
tell
for
the
the
listeners. You'll have
podcast.
to go to the
There's
YouTube
peace
channel.
fingers and there's a tongue between there.
Taste of
Deal with
peace.
it.
Oh, so yeah.
Taste
so-
of peace. I love that.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
Okay, so here's my interruption. Butterflies. It's Butterfly Day. So where I live once a year, just millions and millions of butterflies, like I'm not exaggerating, it's millions, not thousands, of butterflies start flying all over and over you to the point where it looks like it's snowing. And it's so amazing. And you never know what's going to happen, like, kind of this time of year. And I just love those moments where nature just stops you in your tracks and makes you sit in awe. And it's just so joyful. Anyway, my interruption is millions of butterflies.
Book interrupted.
All right, should we get to some of these?
Yeah.
Do we have a long list?
We've
Yeah.
got
Never.
lots. Yeah, we got lots actually.
Does anyone have any follow-up? Actually, we should do that first. Does anyone have any follow-up about the book?
I don't know if you guys remember, I bought the final report, the summary of the final report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, Volume 1 summary. But I also got a knock on the door from the library, which is the summary of the summary. This summary is big, right?
Summary of the summary?
Because I own this, but I got the other one from the library. I thought I would read it. It's the same stuff, but not all of it. This size of book can be daunting for some people. And if you're like, I'm not sure if I can get through this and I want to get information faster, you could start with that one, maybe. Knock at the door. And you know how when we were reading, they called me number one, we're all like, oh, it's got a lot of facts and it's easy to get through and easy to digest because of that, even though it's like a serious thing. I find a knock at the door also the same, or like this summary, because it's a statement of facts. They did truth telling. There's people doing truth telling, and then they're looking at historical facts from the government and stuff. And so it's just a whole bunch of statement of fact. And so you learn a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, that's my follow up.
So it's called
I'm not done
Knock
it.
at the Door.
Knock at the door. And it's
Knock
the
at the
summary
door.
of the summary of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's report.
Amazing. I also that reminds me, I wanted to thank you, Meredith, for, it used to be called Truth, Healing, and Reconciliation. And I was like, that is a very integral and important reminder. I just, there was nothing more than to say that I really appreciate. I felt like you were honoring the book very highly, and in that moment by choosing to focus on that sentence to share.
Anyway, Kim, you had something to say too.
Did I?
You went like this.
That's
You
really
do now.
I was like, you're so psychic. But what I was going to say is, well, I'll tell you. When you said, I've got the summary of the Truth and Reconciliation, and then I got a knock on the door. I thought this was like the beginning of a mom story.
Yeah, me too.
And I thought, who could that be? And so I went to the door and I opened it, and there, behold, like what I thought if you're starting a story like that. And I realized, oh no, it's in the name of the book. So
I did the same thing.
Because my mom sometimes will tell stories that are very detailed, and I'm like, we could skip the first 40 minutes of this story. You ended up with the wrong grocery bag. Is that what you're telling me? Like,
my mom does that when she's talking about something dramatic, that something bad has happened. I was like, just start the story saying everyone's okay, if everyone's okay. Because I'm like, I will listen to your long, detailed story gladly, as long as I know everyone's alive. Let's start with that.
And that's how we lost your brother.
Wrap it up. Tell me first.
I don't have any follow-up. I just, that's
then
what I was
got
thinking
a
when
knock
you said
at the
to me.
door.
Yeah, I was like, ooh,
that's
who was at the
literally
door? Nobody comes to the door anymore unannounced.
I know, I thought so too. I was like, oh, were they canvassing about something? Or were they like trying to get people together about something?
Take this book.
Read this.
I watched a documentary in between the last episode and this episode, and it was called Australians' Dark Secret. And it's about the Aboriginal people in Australia. And they also had residential schools too. They had the government implied that there was a pedophilia ring with Indigenous men in Australia, and that they had to like break up this ring, and they made it a state of emergency so they could go in with the military. And it turns out they found uranium on their lands. So that's really why they invented the story of the pedophilia ring. And when they investigated, there was no children in the entire community that had been abused whatsoever. And they did a whole big report about it, but the government made this big lie. And it was only like 10 years ago.
Weird.
Well, not, I guess 2007, I think it was. Isn't that crazy?
That's
15 years
crazy.
ago.
I mean,
Isn't it? The whole country just let it happen. And the military ran up and people were just fleeing with their children, afraid the government was going to take their children away.
The lengths that people go to, eh? For money.
And just that Australia's like Canada. And they also had residential schools. They took people's kids to and put them with the nuns. And anyway, it's shocking that there's just abuses that Indigenous people suffer all over the world.
Mm. And it's ironic that we come from a history where we would label our white selves as civilized. I just think it's the most ironic thing ever.
It's just
Like the
super
meaning.
ethnocentric.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're the
Absolutely.
best, we know better, like whatever.
Yeah.
The thing that bugs me about what you're telling us, Sarah, is that like there's probably people who still believe that, right? Like that's the problem with what we call fake news now. As soon as something like that is like released or whatever, there are people that will just buy into it. And so the damage is really, I don't know, it has staying power in spite of even counter evidence.
Well, one of the things in the story, that's what some of these people are saying. The problem was that they proved that it was wrong, that didn't happen. There was no apologies from the government, and no news picked up the story that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, that's an ongoing thing
Amazing.
for people who are oppressed, because who is in charge on the top? That happens all the time. What were we, here we go. What were we reading when, maybe it was in the Malcolm Gladwell book, even just how reports for crime in, lower income neighborhoods, they portray this subtle
I think it was
description,
in the Malcolm Gladwell,
right? That reinforces the bias. And I mean, they may do that even because their bias is implicit. So they don't even realize that they're doing that. That's a big part of Black history, is the creation of a character, basically, for everyone to be afraid of.
Yeah. Because you can do horrible, mean, unjust, uncivilized thing to someone when you perceive them as other than you, different.
Especially fearful too. If they're making them presented in such a way like you're not safe around this, then it's like, good, get them all away, do whatever you need to do or whatever,
Then you're justified in defending yourself.
Right. When you're not even really under attack, when actually, ironically, the reverse is true.
Exactly.
Yes.
I think we just uncovered a big thing here, folks.
We might
Uncovered? You think we're the first, yeah.
You're taking credit.
Like this is a big discovery.
How white of you.
I know.
For me personally, my own subjective experience is that I feel like I've gained great insight around a happening.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Personal
There
uncoveering.
we go.
Personal uncovering. That makes more sense.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Sorry about that. That was really colonial.
I thought you were going to say that was really close.
My experience is
Right in
the experience. Yeah. Way to go, Kara.
Yeah. She learned the opposite from
Yeah.
like just like fucking offside.
Just like
Just
totally
so
missed
wrong.
the point. Oh my god.
So
Oh, dear.
That's great.
Oh, dear.
No, that's good though. That is.
I need a good old fashioned say.
That's the whole
say
point.
right
Like
now.
jokes aside, that's the whole point, is to be brave enough to learn the truth so that you can crack open. My voice is weird right now, but I don't want to be a lot of throat cleary. But you want to learn so that you can crack open in yourself ways that you can independently participate in the solution rather than the problem, right?
Yeah, seeing the world through different eyes. Yeah.
And not the shocking news eyes. They're only going to
5-minute version.
report the sensational thing and not the correction. I mean, they might report the correction, but doesn't
Like
get
on the last
same.
page of the
Yeah,
newspaper.
Yeah,
in
in
small
the
It just
print.
doesn't get
print
the-
possible.
Yeah.
That was aired during the commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's
All
next,
right.
Bird? I mean, Bird.
Elsa,
Sarah,
Bird.
Elsa.
Mary,
my
it's so
goodness.
weird because I think he shared that on a Marco Polo video, and I was like, no, I constantly interchange Leah and Charlie's, like they
Yeah.
are one and the same. They're
That's
synonymous.
a normal brain thing. All the
Oh.
certain category of people are stored in the same area of your brains. Your family, they're all.
Oh, because I call Charlie Leah more often than I don't, and I'm always on the verge of calling you Leah Charlie.
Yeah.
That's okay.
because you're all in the
Oh.
they're all in the
You
family
love 'em
compartment.
both. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they're all in the I love you area, not the. At least you're not
Well,
calling them like
hopefully.
something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many times I call Leah Hitler. Yeah.
She called me Adolf earlier,
I'm a little worried.
and I'm not down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Alex, a couple days ago, out of nowhere, like marches right up to Bob and I. And she goes, "Why did you decide on Alex? I prefer Piper. From now on, just call me Piper, would ya?"
Sure.
And she just walked off, and I was like, "Okay."
I can't
middle
wait to like
It's up to you.
tell
I'm so
people
sorry.
or tell kids what they wanted to be called. Freddie wanted to be called Link. He's like, why didn't you
Oh
call me
no.
Link? And I was like, okay.
Freddie's the coolest name ever.
I know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Oh, he wanted to be called Link.
I was like, you could have been called Merlin. So just be happy.
So you just
no,
think you're
yeah.
lucky. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was almost called Willow.
Which is a good name, except
Willow.
if she had been called Willow, then the movie Willow came out, she would have been devastated. Because Willow is a
Total
beautiful
devastation.
name.
It
But
is.
Yeah.
Willow in that movie
Yeah.
was a boy.
yeah, I know.
I think so.
So-
Yeah.
I know that Tom Cruise was in that movie.
He
Was
was?
I
Yeah,
don't
you're
remember
really
that.
young,
As who?
Willow.
Well, now I want to go back and
Google it. Maybe I'm Mandelaing you all.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember Tom Cruise.
He's in
maybe.
Willow
Okay.
No, it's Val Kilmer. I'm almost certain.
Val
it's
Kilmer is in
Kilmer.
Willow.
and Tom Cruise.
I don't know.
Wow.
I'm gonna go look it up now.
I really hope this is a Mandela effect.
I really hope he's in it.
I really hope it is. It's so much more funny. You're never sure about anything. You're never sure about anything. And this is like, I'm sure. All facts you give us are like, I don't know where this came from. But this one should be
But I've never been more certain.
100%.
I don't
I'm
see
looking it
that he's
up
in
now.
the cast yet.
So Warwick Davis is Willow in it. Let's just see.
Mary came out in 1988. Oh my god, I feel so old.
Yeah, Sarah would have been like turning 10.
Mhm.
Jack, Tom Cruise, and his friends do everything possible to save the world and Princess Lily from the hands of darkness. Oh, it's Legend.
Legend. Yeah, he's not in
Oh
there.
my
It's like totally
God.
different.
No, it's not. Same vibes though. Totally
Right?
Same vibes.
Willow
Yeah.
and Legend are the
know.
same movie.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's almost the same movie, probably.
It is, really. In my brain, it is.
I was putting money on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they both came out in the 80s.
We have an agenda and a hard stop. Like, let's get
We
on.
do.
Sorry, let's go. Okay.
All right.
Before we do best movie of the 80s, Labyrinth. Thank you.
Second that.
Instagram, the Burnout episode 2, someone commented on that. We were talking about being late for some reason. And they said, this was a great listen on my way to work. I was 8 minutes late. At least it's way better than the 3-hour late people. And they put a smiley face.
I love
Maybe
that.
it's better about
That's
being late
good.
for work.
Way better than a
Be like,
3-hour
oh, only
late.
8 minutes. No problem.
Everybody can relate to a conversation about being late because either you're a person who's always late or you're a person who's never late or whatever, somewhere in
Yeah.
between. Everybody's got a position on it.
Yeah. Oh, Pinterest. This is kind of cool. We have an audiogram on Pinterest for quotes from an episode, and Seeing Red episode 6. I'm going to play it for you guys. We have 5,000 expressions for it. People really like that pin. Okay, ready? You're going to listen to it? This is what has 5,000 expressions.
What's an
on
expression?
Pinterest.
Impressions.
Okay.
That means that many people looked at it. So this is the one.
It was like, I'll just put these on. First time ever, and I'm going to go on a hike.
in the white shorts.
Just in my white jeans.
Doing that photo shoot was probably one of the funniest things I've ever done.
To hold it in place. That's what she told me. That's what I used to do when I was younger. And after I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why am I 2 pairs of underwear?
Don't you
Actually, they need to be much thicker and much larger.
Like of a naked person, so maybe that's part of the problem, but part of the problem or part of the solution.
It's part of the
Yeah.
solution.
I was like, okay, we're going to teach you about all parts of your body except for your eyes. You just don't need to know about that, right? Like,
It's-
And it was, the picture was Lindsay as a tampon.
Best picture.
Best picture ever. Anyway, so people are really digging our period episode.
who isn't?
And that was a fan follow-up episode. So we were, you know how we just, like this one, go way off on crazy topics. So clearly we do it on a lot of crazy topics about periods.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And Leah being naked for some reason. I wonder what, I can't remember
Yeah,
that
I don't
conversation.
remember why.
I don't
I'm a
remember
naked
why
person.
Leah
That's
was.
part of the problem or part of the solution.
I don't know what we were even talking about,
Problem. I don't
but I
either.
don't remember much. So that's not
Yeah.
me.
But you make me feel better, Leah, because I don't remember much either. And I think that's cool.
I
Maybe it's
got
just
nothing.
similar brain stuff. And I don't feel as
Yeah, I
bad.
got nothing.
Every
don't
moment
know.
is a new moment.
If I had $20 every time somebody said, "Oh, we've already met," I'd be a very rich woman.
I got to get better at that. Making
know.
eye contact, repeating their name in my mind. It's not
Breathing,
good.
getting rid of the anxiety.
Yeah, I'm always in my own head.
Your
and
name
stuff.
rhymes with the shirt you're wearing or whatever. Like, I don't know.
I remember people and their stories, so I can remember where I met them, the stories they told me about themselves, but I can never remember their names.
Same.
It's such a great skill. It makes people feel so important and seen, and I think it's
Yeah.
such a great skill.
Oh, thanks. But I wish I could remember their names too.
I remember
Right.
their emotional imprint, but not necessarily their exact
Emotional
name.
imprint.
I
Like I could
do.
be like, "How's your daughter feeling?" or whatever. I could remember things
Yeah,
like that,
such
but I
a
can't for the
great
life
thing.
of me remember their name.
Oh.
That's the worst too. If you're with someone else and you want to introduce them, you don't remember their name, but you remember
You can't.
intimate
I
details
hate
that they told
that.
you. You're like, "This is my friend, Monica," and you wait for them to introduce
It's like-
themselves. It's awful.
It's the
Named
worst.
Sharon.
Yeah.
Or out of context. People out of context is tough.
Yeah, really hard. It's like they
Yeah,
were wearing
it's-
disguises before.
I
Yeah.
hate it seeing
Yes.
clients outside of
Yeah.
my shop. I'm always just like, why is this the most uncomfortable experience of my life?
Yeah.
Because
So
you guys,
bad.
you know why? Because you have intimacy required in the first 10 seconds
Yeah.
of working with them. And then you see them outside and it should be more because you got to that
Oh.
level, but it isn't because
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it's
you know what I mean?
not.
Like that's why.
It's work shtick personality, like your waitress personality. I'm an extrovert. This is my shop.
Oh
Welcome.
yeah. Totally.
I take care of your needs here.
I was
How
faking
are
the
you
whole
feeling?
time.
I'm
Yeah.
a fake as fuck person. I'm funny all the time.
Give me your money, please.
Wow, you are funny all the time.
You
No,
are.
But at the grocery store, I'm like,
Don't look at me.
You should
Don't
draw
look at
that
me.
picture for this episode.
I'm not here.
Yes.
that's human. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh well.
I'll go to one Twitter and then we could end it if you like.
Sure.
So 2 people retweeted something from our off the shelf episode 8, which was when we did those quizzes. How angry is your feminism? And
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
and the stress quiz. Yeah.
Stressed
They
thinking about it.
retweeted this quote. "You're a woman, so let's be real. This isn't the first time something like this has happened to you, but tonight, instead of panicking and blaming yourself for your carelessness, you're prepared." And 2 people retweeted that.
Is that from
one-
the actual quiz?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's before
I
you.
remember that.
You remember the one quiz and we had to be like plotting the person's
That's it.
minute by minute murder?
None of us were angry enough,
And we were
feminists,
like-
as it turns out, because we weren't murderers. Yeah. Yeah.
I know we were going to end there, but can I say one more thing? Because it's the They Called Me Number One wrap up, can we finish with a They Called Me Number One
Sure.
fan follow up?
Sure. Allyship retweeted the quote from They Called Me Number One, episode 2. "Anything you expose yourself to can change your unconscious bias. Reading the stories and learning more and all that stuff." And then another one from the same episode, someone named Daniel retweeted, "I get really overwhelmed when I look at the big picture and I take in the fact of how history went and everything else." They retweeted that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
A book club is just a book without members. Join the community by following us on Facebook, Instagram, or sign up for exclusive content through our website at bookinterrupted.com/unpublished. We'd like to give a big shout out to our listeners. Your support makes this all possible.
Thank you for the uplifting feedback and for recommending us to family and friends. We love hearing from you. Please reach out through our website at bookinterrupted.com/fans or by emailing connect@bookinterrupted.com. We appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to connect with us. See you next time on Book Interrupted.
Book Interrupted.
Never forget, every child matters.